tukisikia body anywhere we used to rush, tuangalia kama ni yeye wapi. Kiambu, mostly Kiambu that time, there were so many bodies ilikuwa dumped. So sisi tulitafuta baba Esther, hatukupata. Hata niliwachia watu wa mochari picha. So wakipata body, disabling that, akaniite.
Tuko family, how are you doing? My name is Kimweru. This is another episode of my story. Picture this. It's a routine evening in your home as a wife, and your husband receives a call to go help someone outside, never to return. 4 years down the line, you've never seen him. That's the story we're just about to hear from our today's guest, Njoki Mweru. Let's get right into it. Thank you for your courage to share your story with us, and of course, because you're looking for justice. But before we go into the story, kindly introduce yourself to our audience. And what do you do?
Okay. I'm Njoki Mweru from Liruta, Nairobi County. I work as a health practitioner in this Republic of Kenya. Yeah.
I saw your email. It was filled with details. Why are we here today?
We are here because of denial of justice by the DCI, because I have a case of abduction of my husband who disappeared on 3rd of February 2020, almost 4 years ago, and they have been denied justice by the DCI. Yeah.
That means you reported the case. They have done investigations.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into it. What happened?
It was 3rd of February 2020 when a man, later we learned he's called Dennis Dubimanda, who rang my husband at around 7 p.m. requesting him to help him take his wife to hospital using my husband's car. So my husband was to drive them to the hospital where they wanted to take, he wanted to take his wife to hospital. So my husband was rang at around 7 p.m. and the discussion over the phone was, so I had my husband paused, and he heard what the other person on the other side was talking about. Then he responded, so unataka nipeleke bibi yako hospitali, ni mgonjwa? So after that, my husband paused. The other person on the other side was talking, and my husband is as if he was asked, where uko wapi? Because he responded, niko kwa nyumba. Then that person on the other side came physically at around 7:30 p.m. in our house, and nilikuwa nimeenda kufunga mlango ya corridor. I found him there. Akaniuliza, where is this the place of Baba Esther's? I told him yes, because I had heard that conversation over the phone. So I allowed him in. Nikampeleka kwa sitting room where my husband was, and nikamkaribisha. Then my husband introduced me to him and said, huyu aliniambia anaitwa Baba Dennis, anakaa plot next to us. He has a sick wife, na anataka nimpelekea hiyo bibi yake mgonjwa hospitali, then I come back.
Question. There were no other vehicles around?
Since the place we stay is enclosed, I didn't know, but our vehicle was outside our compound in a road reserve, and it was not a taxi. It is just a personal vehicle where my husband does just the normal duties with it, just daily activities. Yeah.
And had you ever seen this man who came?
No, I have never seen him around our compound or anywhere around our area. Yeah, he was a stranger to me. Yeah.
So now they're in the sitting room. He has been introduced to you.
Yeah.
And then?
when I discovered that at least they are familiar in a way, I just went away, but I was within the house doing my daily activities, but was overhearing what they were talking about, because my husband asked him, which hospital do you want me to help you take your wife? Then he said, he talked about the hospital, but I didn't hear the exact name of the hospital. Then, but according to the discussion, because my husband commented, that health facility must be a health facility which is very advanced, kwa sababu niona kama ni wazungu wanapelekwa for treatment there or to get services there. So then the other person who had come in the house responded, so nataka tupeleke mama kwa sababu ni mgonjwa sana, akuwe investigated overnight. So my husband lashed, took a coat, a jacket, then they walked away. Now to go and pick the wife was next plot, according to the person who had come in the house. Then in the night, so me in the house, I thought maybe they have already gone, maybe they have picked the wife, maybe he was in the hospital, she was in the hospital being assisted. So I decided to ring overnight. In the course of the night, my husband's phone was off. Then in the morning at around 5, him is the one who usually pick the children to take our children to school every day. Then in the evening he usually pick them. So that 5 p.m. my children, we woke up very early at around that time. Then they dressed, they took their breakfast, I waited to be taken to school, but my husband never turned up. Maybe I thought in the hospital, maybe something has happened. Maybe the patient has been so sick and my husband wanted to continue maybe assisting the man who had come in the house to care for the wife, or maybe just to stay with him to comfort him, something like that. And also anything can happen in a hospital. Maybe even somebody can pass on. So I thought maybe, he will come, maybe in the course of the morning hours. So I decided to take my children to school. We just trekked to school. Then I came back. I went to the next plot. Then I tried to inquire about the whereabouts or the house where this person who had come in the house, where he stays. Then at long last, I was told there's somebody like that. I decided, I described the person who had come in the house as Baba Dennis. I asked, hakuna mtoto anaitwa Dennis hapa kwa hii plot? Then I was told there's nobody like Dennis here. Na mtu anafanana hivi. I tried to describe the physical appearance of this person who had come in the house. Then I was told, no, there's nobody like that in this plot. There was no sick wife. Somebody was sick in the night. So I was surprised. Then I decided to go next plot along Door Road, because it's a feeder road which is very busy, to Naivasha Road. I went every plot inquiring up to 1 p.m. From around 7 a.m. not 8 p.m. sorry, up to 1 p.m. 2 p.m. There was nobody. And then I was rang by my brother-in-law who stays at Kiambu.
Before your brother-in-law rang you, what was going through your mind? The phone is off and your husband hasn't turned up.
I thought maybe there was something which had gone wrong, maybe in the hospital where the wife was being taken. I never thought something bad had happened. So
the brother-in-law
rang, and then I was told that our vehicle had been dumped at Ruaka, a car wash, just a small car wash opposite a building called Losareniveria. There's a big building called Losareniveria. Then, so my brother-in-law said he had been alerted by the Rwaka police officers to go there urgently. And they had gotten my brother-in-law's contacts through a card, invitation card of a wedding, his wedding, which had been left there in the vehicle, and the wedding, his wedding had been 2019 December, and that time was February 2020. So one of the card had been left there. So it is the one which assisted to get the contact of a relative, who was my brother-in-law. Then he was called. He went and identified the car, and then he started calling me regarding whereabouts of Baba Esther. Baba Esther is my husband. We have a daughter called Esther. So I narrated the story. I summarized what had happened. That there's somebody who came in the house. Then they went with my husband. So he told me that I go to Kabete police station. I record an OB regarding the same, because they discovered there was something fishy. Because how can one leave a car in an unfamiliar area and that early morning?
And they're supposed to be, the vehicle was supposed to be in Riruta.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Riruta. Now it was at Rwaka. The following day at around 6:30. The car wash people came in the morning. Then they found the car there, 6:30 a.m. on 4th of February 2020. And they found the car there. So they decided to alert the Rwaka police officers to come and check on it. So I went at Kabete police station. I recorded an OB. Then we went with the police officers from Kabete police station to pick the car, and we came with it at Kabete police station. The following day, they came at our place. They recorded they came and inquired from me what had happened. And then they told me to go back to Kabete, which I went, and they recorded a statement regarding the same, and they started their investigations. On the third day after disappearance, that was 5th of February 2020, there's a lady who came in my house asking me about my husband's whereabouts, because she talked in Kiswahili. She told me, nataka Baba Esther niambie kama ameona my husband Ben, kwa sababu Ben alinipigia simu at around 8 p.m. The 8 p.m. is when they had come out of the house with the same man who had come to call him regarding the sick wife. So alinipigia simu hiyo saa 2, akaniambia ati wanaenda kupeleka mgonjwa hospitali na Baba Esther. Baba Esther who is my husband. Then so nataka Baba Esther, nimekuja tu kuulizia Baba Esther kama anaweza kuwa ameona Ben, because tangu hiyo siku 8 p.m. that of February 2020 sijaona Ben. Simu yake imekuwa off.
So that is another person coming to tell you that their husband is also missing. And yours is also missing.
Yeah. So this lady, they used to be, this lady is the third wife. Now, the second wife ni yule walikuwa wamekodi nyumba na Ben kwetu 10 years ago. So the lady, kaniambia mimi naonanga Baba Esther na Ben. So nikaulizia kono nyumbani ni wapi, nyumba nimekuja nikiulizia. So nikaambia ni hapa, nikaambia ni kweli ni hapa. So Ben since 3 days ago sijamuona na hata simu yake iko off. So sasa nimekuja Baba Esther niambie kama anaweza kuwa amemuona. So nikamwambia hata hiyo Baba Esther unaniambia hata yeye hiyo 3rd of February 2020 at 8 p.m. ndio alitoka hapa. Na wakatoka by somebody who was not familiar to me, na wakaenda regarding kupeleka bibi, my husband kumsaidia kupeleka bibi yake hospitali. So nikamwambia I called the investigating officer and informed him there's a lady who has come in the house regarding somebody who had disappeared the same time, with the same people, with the same Dennis. Later we learned the man who came in the house is called Dennis. Even it's not the Baba Dennis, is him himself is the one who is called Dennis. So I alerted the investigating officer, who told me to tell her to go to the Kabete police station so that the two cases can be connected together as two people who had disappeared. And that's what the lady went and did all that. So after 10 days from disappearance, so the Kabete DCI, they tracked the man who came in the house, and they managed to get him, and he was summoned to come and report to Kabete police station, which he did, and he came and recorded a statement regarding disappearance. Then the DCIO, the former DCIO of Kabete of 2020, told me that they've managed to get the person who came in the house, and the same information he had recorded is the same information he gave. So the first question I asked him, have you arrested him? Because two people have disappeared. If he's still walking with his 2 feet in this nation, have you arrested him? Then he told me, the way we did interrogation, we discovered this person who came in the house is very connected to very senior people, influential people in this nation. So I told him, sasa hata shiko. Okay, he said I told him to come after 5 days from now. And
during that period he was making the statement, where did he say they went with your husband?
I tried to inquire from the DCIO, because he's the one who interacted with him, because I was not there that time. This day I was called, he had come like the day before, so I had not seen him. So that is the report I was given by the DCIO. So about, that is very connected to very influential people in this nation. So he was told to come after 5 days. So I said, he'll come after 5 days, then you come with your relatives so that we can ask him what happened and where he took your husband. So I waited for the 5 days. I informed my relative. The day reached on 18th of February 2020. We all went there. So many relatives, like more than 20. Okay, we entered the DCIO's office. Okay, and I managed to identify him. He's the one who came in the house. And also, when he was outside, I took a photo. And when he realized I was taking a photo, he just rotated all around his face. He didn't want his face to be seen, but I managed to take a photo of him. So we went at the DCIO's office. Then we introduced ourselves. Then the DCIO told us to go with the 2 investigating officers to another office, another room there with the relatives. Then now we started interrogating him regarding this disappearance. Funny enough, these investigating officers, it is as if they had compromised. Sisi tuling'ang'ana kuuliza maswali, ulipeleka wapi baba Esther? Kwa sababu we ulikuja kwa nyumba, ukatoka na yeye. Na the conversation was, unasaidiwa by my husband to take your wife to the hospital kwa sababu ni mgonjwa na alafu arudi. So kama sio wewe na mgonjwa wako, which was fake, we later discovered hakuna mgonjwa alikuwa, hagetoka kwa nyumba, wewe ndio ulimchukua mkatoka na yeye. na akusaidie na gari yetu kupeleka bibi yako hospitali. So tukamuuliza sasa, si utatupatia baba Esther kwa sababu wewe ndio mlitoka na yeye, lazima mtoe pale ulimpeleka. Ninasikia tena iko mwingine mlienda mkachukua huko. Hata huyo mwingine si utampatia na pale ulimpeleka. So sasa yeye alikuwa hata hastuki kitu. Yeye tu anaendelea, hata the investigating officers hakuna kitu anasaidia. So sisi tena tukamuuliza, na mnajuana aje na baba Esther? Kwa sababu hii namba yake ya simu ndio upige ashike hiyo simu kwa nyumba, ulikuwa umetoa wapi?
Hakusema wakati mnamuuliza maswali alipeleka walienda aje? So
alisema ati vile walikuja kwa nyumba wakatoka na my husband, walienda wakachukua Ben. Sasa nikamuuliza, Ben ndiye alikuwa mgonjwa? Connection ya Ben na mgonjwa na bibi yako kupelekwa hospitali inakujania wapi? Haya ulikuwa unaitikia ukiongea huyu ni baba Dennis nakaa next plot. Na wewe unaendelea tu kunodi ni next plot. Sasa vile nilienda the following day next plot, sikupata. Ukai huko, hakuna bibi mgonjwa alikuwa huko. So ulidanganya. What was the hidden agenda behind kudanganya na disappearance? So yeye hakuna kitu anasema. Sasa ni kama anasaidiwa tu na this investigating office DCI. Hakuna kitu hata kitu walitusaidia hata kuuliza maswali. Sisi tu tunang'eng'ana, ikakuwa kama baraza ya chief. It is as if it is a civil case. It's not a criminal case. Now 2 people have disappeared. So tukamuuliza, hii namba ya baba Esther ulitoa wapi ndio mpigie simu? Akatuambia ati alikuja kwa Ben. The Ben yule they picked from the other side hiyo along Dwar Road. Ati Ben alikuwa ameambia Ben amtafutie nyumba Gong, ndio vacate from Gong from Kaha West to Gong. So Ben akamwambia amepata hiyo nyumba. So Ben alikuwa anamuenda kumuonyesha huko Gong. So vile alikuwa awakaenda kwa Ben, alafu hakupata nini. Ben alikuwa na kagari kakapata mechanical problem at around Kawangware, so hawangefika Gong. So wakarudisha. So akamwambia there's a place nilikuwa naishi zamani like 10 years ago. Na huyo mzee ako na gari. Na hiyo ni mzuri inaweza fika Gong. So akamwambia okay, wacha nimpigie simu. Ben akamwambia wacha nimpigie simu tumuulize kama anaweza pata nafasi atupeleke Gong, then we come back. So it is as if this is a story of Dennis the abductor. So me I don't know whether it is true or not, I'm not sure. So tukaenda according to Dennis ati wakachukua Ben akapiga simu kwa sababu ndio walikuwa najuana na baba Esther as a former tenant. So akamwambia ati wanataka kupelekwa Gong. So I think he agreed according to them. Then wakaenda wakawapeleka Gong, drive to Gong. Then Ben na Dennis, this abductor is the one who is called Dennis. Wakaenda wakaona nyumba, then they came to the vehicle. My husband never came out of the vehicle according to Den the abductor. Alafu akawareta back. So after that jioni in the evening ndio sasa alikuja tena nyumbani, ndio wakatoka. Now coming with a story that he had a sick wife and he come from the next plot. So alafu tukamuuliza mkaenda wapi? Ndio sasa hao wawili hatuwaoni hapa, what happened? Ati sasa tukachukua vile tulikuwa kwa gari, tukaenda tukachukua Ben, then tukaenda Fig Tree along Gara. There's a restaurant called Gara. So Gara, baba Esther hakunywi futi sigara, hakunywi pombe. So baba Esther akakunywa soda according to Dennis the abductor. Alafu sisi tukakunywa whatever, tukakunywa. Alafu iko Ben watu walikuwa nataka kugoja ati Apple Fig Tree. Tukamuuliza ni watu wa gani? Kama you have gone, wewe ndio umewatoa kwa nyumba, si unajua ni hao watu ni wa gani? Akasema mimi si wajui. So tukaona hawa watu hawakuji. Mimi nikamwambia nipeleka Kaha West. ndio naishi. Alafu nikawapigia simu after 40 minutes nikasikia ni wateja. Sasa nikamuuliza, sasa wewe ndio uliwatoa kwa nyumba, ulisema you have a sick wife, apelekwa hospitali. Sasa fig tree ilikujia wapi? Kwenda kuchukua Ben ilikujia wapi? Na sasa vile umepelekwa kwa nyumba, haya wewe unatembea na miguu yako this time. Now today is 18th. That time was 18th of February 2020. Haya, it is walipotea third. It is almost 15 days since walipotea. Na sasa wewe unatembea na miguu yako, wewe uliwatoa kwa nyumba. Just ugerudi nyumbani manyumbani because unajua pale walitoka, pale wanaishi, ukuje waangalie. Since ulipiga simu, ukasikia ni wateja after 40 minutes. So ungeenda nyumbani all those time, that time ukuje waangalie what happened. Walifika salama. You are not interested, so you had a hidden agenda. Wewe unatembea na miguu yako, hao wengine wamepotea. You are less interested kujua walienda wapi according to you. So the DCI Kabete hakuna kitu walisaidia. We thought maybe they would arrest Dennis that day. They did nothing.
Because
akatoka tu akaenda na hakuna kitu walimuuliza. He walked away as a free man. Hakuna kitu imefanyika, as if nothing has happened.
To date?
Up to date. No, no abduction case which has been charged. He has not been charged. So, akaenda tu. So, after that I thought maybe DCI, maybe they are waiting for something, the investigation, maybe to investigate on something, alafu they arrest him. Nothing. So this time they started dodging me up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So on 20th, Ben's body was found at City Mortuary, this Nairobi. And according to the mortuary records, he had been booked in on 4th. They disappeared on 3rd of February 2020. On 4th in the morning, Ben's body was found at along my Mahio escarpment. At gari in the morning, somebody aliona gari imesimama imetupa hiyo mwili, lakini hakutelemuka huko. Iko tumiti ilikuwa hapo, so hakutelemuka. So ikaenda. So wale waliona they alerted the Gobi police post, which is along my Mahio escarpment, and I think they got a vehicle from Kijabi because that area is within Kijabi. Na wakaenda wakakuja wakachukua mwili wakapeleka City Mortuary. City Mortuary. So ni vile relatives wako wameenda kutafuta, wangekuwa wameshampata huko. They didn't find him. They had not gone to look to search for him because the following days, kama wangeenda the following day wangempata. So
even as the wife was coming to ask about him from your house, that is to seek answers from your husband, the body was already in the City Mortuary.
Yeah, it was, but nobody was aware. So 20th, I think on 19th in the evening, there's information from the media which came forward that there's some bodies which had been found along the river, and they had been collected by a police officer. I can't remember which river, but within, I think, Kajiado County, Nairobi County, just around there. Then, so the people who had had their relatives missing, they rushed to City Mortuary on 20th to search for their loved ones. And through the relatives of Ben, mostly for the first wife, he had adults. They were adults, so they managed to identify the body. But my relatives had gone there on the third day, and they found the body of Ben there. But they didn't know him because they were not aware of his physical appearance. Like me, kama ni mimi ningekuwa nimeenda, ningempata, ningejua, because I knew him. Wanasema because that time walifunguliwa, walienda wakaonyeshwa mili from 3rd of April to 5th because they had gone on 5th, na wakaona mwili ya Ben among the bodies, but they were not aware of him physically. So the relatives of Ben that day 20th of April 2020, they managed to identify the body, and as it is as if alikuwa amegongwa with a blunt object on the back of the head because he had blood all over, and na kama amenyongwa. Alikuwa anaona tu some sign ya kunyongwa with a wire. So sisi tulitafuta Baba Esther, hatukupata. From that time tukatafuta all over the mortuaries. Hata niliwachia watu wa mortuary picha yangu city mortuary ya Baba Esther. So wakipata body disabling that akanite. So lakini up to now they have never gotten, because I used to contact them, lakini hajapata. Tukisikia body anywhere we used to rush look for the need, tuangalia kama ni yeye wapi. Kiambu, mostly Kiambu that time there were so many bodies ilikuwa dumped. Tulikuwa tunaenda tunaangalia hakuna. When that body was found, we alerted the investigating officer who was less concerned. So tukamwambia mwili ya Ben imepatikana city mortuary, have the relatives here, the sons of Ben. So akaniambia wacha wakuje pande hii, but later he was less concerned even about following up the postmortem or like that. So at Kabete police DCI, they never recorded. There were some areas they were supposed to touch, like recording statement from the Gobi police post regarding how they found the body, nani alitania that body. They were very less concerned. After they were supposed to record a statement with the Roaka police, they never did. They were supposed also to record a statement with the car wash people where the vehicle was dumped. They never went. It was they were less concerned. Within even after 2.5 months, my brother-in-law went to record a statement. Now the investigating officer said, like so many times, severally, ati hana nafasi for him to record a statement. So I followed like 2.5 months. No progress. The file was almost empty. It was about only my statement and the statement of this abductor. The other statements we are supposed to be there, like the way I've said, from the car wash workers, from Gobi police post, from the Roaka police officers. All those statements were supposed to be there. So there were none. So nikaenda kwa DCI nikamuuliza, kwani hapa hakuna progress ya investigations? Haya, moja mwili yake imepatikana, my husband sijui his fate. So ananiambia, I thought huyu investigating officer ametoka kwa flying squad. Nilikuwa nafikiri this case he can handle it very well. Lakini I don't know what is happening. Even the DCI started even siding with me that there was very slow progress. Lakini sasa mkubwa, slow progress ikikuwa is the one to be blamed because he's the head of the place. So I decided to write a letter to the DCI headquarters to ask for help regarding the slow pace in investigation. I have the letter. Then I was told after 2 weeks I go and get the response. I have my copy. So I waited for the 2 weeks as I was going to Kabete Police DCI to follow up on my case. Then when I was there, I was introduced to some officers from Nairobi area. Then we talked with them and I told them about the slow progress in investigations at Kabete Police or Police Station. Then they gave me an appointment the following day because they had come to follow an issue there and they were in a hurry. So the following day we met I narrated my story, and then they found so many gaps within. The duration was too long, no progress. Okay, so they contacted the DCIO, who was there 2020, he's a former now. Then he accepted to be assisted, that case to move to Nairobi area, where the case is now. So we moved to Nairobi area. They were handed over the case because of the slow pace in investigation and the negligence of Kabete Police Station, DCI. So they managed what the best thing the DCI Kabete did. There's a cassette, a video, that cassette of the movement of the vehicle, how the vehicle moved that night. They have it. Now they had it. And they handed over to Kabete, to DCI, Nairobi area. They have. Even at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., my husband was the one who was driving the vehicle. And this man who came in the house, the abductor Dennis, is the front seat, the next front seat to the driver. We've seen very well in that cassette. They came, they'd come out of the house at around 8 p.m. Now as 1 p.m., 2 p.m., they are still together.
The following day?
The following day. Not the following day, that night.
That is 2 a.m., you mean 2 a.m.?
2 a.m. 1 a.m., 2 p.m., 2 a.m., sorry, 1 a.m. na 2 a.m. They were still, the husband is the one who was driving. And hiyo cassette is very clear, inaonekana vizuri. So it is in Nairobi area. So we moved to DCI Nairobi area. And also I went to DCI headquarters to get the report of the letter which I had written regarding the zero-paced investigation, requesting the DCI for the DCI headquarters for assistance. So they told me to go to, they referred me to the special crime unit, which is the disbanded group, current disbanded group, and their offices were in traffic department, this Nairobi traffic department, near library. Oh, yeah, that's there. So I went there, I recorded a statement regarding the same issue, and they took it well, and they started investigations. So these officers from Nairobi area, I also recorded a statement there. So then the special crime unit officers, they were supposed to work with Nairobi area officers regarding investigations so that they can come with a report. So I found good officers at Nairobi area. They were very good officers, very committed. They did a good tremendous job. What Kabete Police Station, DCI had neglected, they managed to mobilize to all those places. They went to Gobi Police Post. They recorded a statement from there. Okay, they went to the car wash place at Roaka. They recorded a statement there. They managed to go to the city mortuary. They got the information they required. At least they did a tremendous job. Within a month, they had completed the investigations with the assistance of the officers from the special crime unit. And their boss is a former. I went there to follow up on my case, and he told me the investigations have been completed. They have identified the suspects, and what they are going to do next is to arrest them.
But they still have not answered the question, where is your husband?
No, they had not. So the special crime unit officers, they also did investigations. They came up with a report. So they combined the report, and they had to give them to their boss. So, and they told me also what is remaining is to arrest the suspect. And the main suspect is the one who came in the house, and they have identified in total 6 suspects. in connection with the disappearance of my husband. And they said they will arrest all those suspects. They were talking about the suspects being at Roaka, Banana, just within there. So later, I don't know what happened. They were not arrested. They completed the investigations like May, like May. That time, May and June, I really followed up. Then, like 2 weeks, mid of May, I was being dodged up, down. So even I asked them, sasa, iko kitu inatakikana, we can do like facilitation so that you can arrest these suspects as quickly as possible. They said, no, hii kazi yote serikali itafanya. The facilitation, the government will assist, and also our bosses will give us the go-ahead. So I became calm, waiting, patient, because that is the report. These officers were telling me, be patient, we are doing something, be patient, we are doing something. So I was patient, but was following up. Okay, they had told me they had tracked Dennis, and he was at Busia, which is the home area. Kaha West is a place, I think he had rented a house, and Busia was his home area where he was at that time. So they were supposed to go there and arrest him. So I decided to go to the DCI headquarters to book an appointment with Mr. Kinoti, who was the director of DCI at that time, 2020-2021. So I went, I found the PA, personal assistant of Mr. Kinoti, and then I narrated the story, how we came from Kabete, and they reached somewhere. Then we went to Nairobi area, where they had done a tremendous job. Okay, I had a photo which I have, which is where my husband is, the abductor. The photo we had put on social media regarding missing person. So alikuwa naigonga, anasema hii picha, okay, huyu mtu unataka ashikwe. Akisema ajui pale mzee alienda, where your husband went, unataka sisi tufanye nini? Nikamuliza sasa, I have come because I know this, the solution of my problems will be sorted in this office. So wewe ndio utajua vile mtafanya, because wewe unajua. So akaniambia hata mwili natafutango miaka 7. Nikamwambia ni sawa, acha itafutwe. Lakini hata ikipatikana ni sawa, tafuta mpate ni sawa. Lakini yule mtu alikuja kwa nyumba, akatoka with my husband, anatembea na miguu yake, anakula, anakunywa, refreshing himself all over. So huyo ndio anatakiwa ashikwe, ndio aseme mpeleka wapi, na which agenda, hidden agenda alikuwa nazo, kumtoa kwa nyumba, wakaenda na yeye anatembea na miguu yake, lakini yeye hatujui huyu alipotea, alipelekwa wapi. So yeye ndiye anatakiwa mtoe, because he had no sick wife, he never decided the next plot. So yeye ndiye anajua kwa nini. So nikisema hivi, nikiuliza hii swali, tukiongea na Mr. Okay, the PA of Mr. Kinoti, hataki hata kunisikiliza. Hata ananidoge, hata nataka just vile you can be told, ni vile haniambii, lakini the actions ananiambia niende, just go. So yeye hakuna usaidizi nilipata. I was not booked for the appointment. Sasa mimi nikatoka hapo nje, I had to do a lot of drama regarding the same. Na tena nilimuuliza, there's somebody who had disappeared, anaitwa Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen alipotea, he had disappeared for a long time, na huyu wangu amedisappear. Sasa these are 2 people who had disappeared. So huyu mlishughulikia mpaka the topest officer wa DCI Kenya mzima, the director, Mr. Kinoti. Alienda, tulimuona, because it is in the public domain, tulimuona kwa Citizen. Akitafuta Mr. Cohen, na Mr. Cohen alipatikana despite the fate ile alipatikana. So hata wangu amepotea. Kwa nini hatafuti? So nikaambia the PA, hii ofisi yako inaonekana is a place where the connected people, the influential people, the rich people ndio wanasaidiwa. Sasa it has turned out not to be a public office, it is an office of those connected people. Ndio mnasaidia hapa.
That is what you were saying in the
that's what I told Mr. Yeah, in the premise. So nikaenda hapo nje. Sasa nikaona hapa. Sasa hapa ofisi sijasaidika. Huyu hana shughuli. Ni kama ananitupa nje. Na hata hana shughuli kabisa. An office PA wa director mzima Kenya mzima, the director of DCI where we are supposed to get help. Anaongea hivyo. So nikaenda hapo nje reception na bag zangu na all the documents I had. Nikaenda hapo asubuhi, nilikuwa nimefika hiyo ofisi yake like 7 am. Ilikuwa 30th of June 2020. So nikaenda hapo nje, nikaona hapa hakuna usaidizi. I really did a lot of drama there.
Did you get help in that office?
So hiyo ofisi sikurudishwa. Iko wengine walikuja wakaniambia, wakanipeleka down, there's a floor, a second floor now, so because tulikuwa third floor. So nikapelekwa huko chini with by some, I think the officers, because walikuwa na plain clothes huko, watu kila mtu anavaa plain clothes. So nikapelekwa certain office downstairs, nikaulizwa mama ni nini, tutausaidizi, narrated the story, then nikaambiwa nitasaidiwa. So after that they released me, nikapita Nairobi area where the case is. Ni vile huko nikapata officers. Wakaniambia, hey Christine, leo ni kama mambo yako imekuwa mzuri kwa sababu tuliitwa huko DCI headquarter. Tukaambiwa on Thursday, that time was 30th of June 2020, was on a Tuesday. So tumeambiwa ati Thursday na Friday tutakuwa facilitated kwenda Busia kushika huyo the main suspect. So nikaenda nyumbani, then wakanipigia simu, wamekuwa facilitated kwenda huko Busia to arrest this main suspect because they said wataanza na huyo. So they were facilitated, wakaenda, they managed kushika huyu mtu.
Was he charged?
Okay, aliletwa Kirereshwa. Alafu akakaa huko. Okay, the way wanaenda kupata kuomba 10 days wa kuminterrogate. So akikuwa interrogated, anaulizwa nani aliua Ben? Ati kwani anastuka, kwani Ben aliuliwa? Na according to a special crime unit, simu ya huyu Dennis the suspect inaonekana huko usiku ndio walienda kutupa mwili. The location ya phone ya the phone inaonekana huko. So okay, alikaa Kirereshwa na Kirereshwa anatembea na simu. I went in there to check on him. Anatembea, alikuwa tu kwa free man. Mtu tu anajulikana tu huko. Anatembea na simu. Because alishikwa on 5th lakini akakuwa arraigned in court on 7th. 7th hapa Milimani, yes. 7th of July 2020. So huko is somebody too very special. It's not a criminal. So Kirereshwa alikaa like 1 month na kitu. Like 1 month na 2 weeks. Enjoying life there. Hakuna hakusuffer anything. So remand. And alikuwa charged with murder peke yake of Ben Maxwell Anyira. Yule mtu alikuwa na my husband. Hakuchajiwa with abduction. Nikauliza kwa nini? Ati tumeambiwa na ODPP tutafute the other suspects ndio wakuwe charged together with abduction. Hajakuwa up to now they have never been arrested.
That has not happened.
They have never ever been arrested. So huyo the suspect, huyo Dennis alikaa remand like 3 weeks, lakini most of the time alikaa Kirereshwa. Just uko Kirereshwa to police station. So alafu akaanza October akaanza kuitisha board because in total alikaa 2 months na 1 week. So akaanza kuitisha board, alilisiwe The other suspects had not been arrested. Na so tukaitwa na probation officer at Milimani. Then we tried to oppose that board because now akirisiwa na the other suspect had not really been arrested. Now we don't know the whereabouts of my husband. Akiulizwa hasemi kitu. So we decided to oppose the board. The Nairobi area DCI, they really opposed the board because they did a lot of work going to Busia to arrest him. Na walisema from Busia to Uganda is just 10 kilometers. So wakasema so akipotea Uganda saa tutamtoa wapi in case akirisiwa. Okay, as we said our issues, the guardian alikuja kwa nyumba, anaweza kuja kutufanyia mambo baya. Alafu now sasa maybe me conscious yangu up to now inaniambia my husband is still alive. Na that time nilikuwa nasema na roho yangu sasa ataenda kumfanyia vibaya wherever he might be. So we opposed even the children of Ben who had been murdered. They really opposed, but at long last alipatiwa the board at like 10th of October 2020. Akatoka just like that with a very fair board.
Do you know of how much?
I think 200,000. I thought maybe immediately they arrest the other suspects. They have never done. I started writing letters to the Office of the Ombudsman, Commissioner for Justice, Internal Affairs, Mr. Aminu Mohammed, who is the current DCI, Director of DCI, to the Inspector General of Police. I have all the documents. To IPOA, I have the documents regarding the slow pace in arresting the suspects. All those offices, they wrote letters to Mr. Kinoti. I followed up. The director of the DCI, Mr. Kinoti, was not responding to their letters, most of them. I wrote so many letters. I have my copies. Then there's one letter, the director of complaints. I went to follow with the director of complaints, DCI headquarters, and I received a letter regarding the LCI Nairobi area, and also the special crime unit boss to follow the arrest, to facilitate the arrest of the suspects. So I was told to go be following that letter, the implementation of that letter. So that letter, I have the copy. On October 2020, after this abductor was released, I was told by the Nairobi LCIO, Nairobi area, that I had my copy, he had his copy to facilitate the arrest of the suspect with the help of SSU. So I was told, he told me he had sent some officers on the ground to arrest the suspect. That is the LCIO Nairobi area of 2020.
Did they arrest him in 2021?
No.
In 2022?
No.
2023 is over. Have they arrested him?
No.
So the essence of doing this interview, or the objective, why you reached out to us, why? Because
the DCI, they are the ones who are supposed to arrest the suspects. That is their work, but they have been compromised. I don't know why they don't want to arrest this suspect. Because hii kesi iko na miguu, lakini the DCI, they have been compromised.
So up to this point, the case is as cold as it is, as it were. Now, what was the occupation of your husband? What was he doing to earn a living?
He used to be a businessman. He had a shop and also a canteen of takeaway food, just a small one.
How did the disappearance of your husband, how has it affected your family?
It has affected us because I had to hire private investigators 2021 because I was threatened in Nairobi area I was almost, I think they had an intention to murder me because I got information from another source from somewhere, which I can't expose. And also had a dream of the same, which I confirmed through the dream. God talk through dreams. In 2021, I never went to Nairobi area. So it has, I think they wanted me to throw me in those containers. Those containers they used to throw bodies. So it has affected us. It has given us a lot of heartaches. It has drained my resources because the private investigators, they are very expensive. I've used more than 1.5 regarding the same. And I can't regret. Well, 1.5.
1.5?
Million.
1.5 million shillings?
Yeah.
Looking for your husband?
Yeah. More than 1.5.
The people have had this story and they have realized or gone with you. We have followed the story. So we have seen how you have struggled to get justice. If there is one person that you'd like to talk to who can help, who is that?
I'm requesting the Honorable Mr. Githure Kindiki, our Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security, and our President, His Excellency, Mr. Ruto, to assist me to get my justice, because the current and the former DCI has been compromised, and they are working hand in hand with the criminals and denying us justice, dodging us from up down for a long time. This is now 4 years ago. I don't know where my husband is. The man who picked my husband from our home, requesting me to assist him take his wife to hospital. He's a free man, walking in this nation, enjoying himself, and justice has not been served.
The people that you have requested for help, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, through my email, Christine in small letters, Mweru in small letters when it is attached.
Christine
together.
Mweru.
Yeah, Christine Mweru 19@gmail.com.
All right. Tuko family and our networks. We have helped people who have come on this platform and talked to us about their struggles with the justice system, and we have supported them. Now, Christine is one of us, or has joined us, and she's seeking for justice because she has a husband who disappeared almost 4 years ago, and you've heard the struggles she has been through all along looking for her husband. It is now our time to support her, and the leaders that she has requested, we pray that you'll come to her rescue so that she can see a difference. My name is Kimeru Wangeshi, this is Tuko, and that is Christine's story.